Numero tres. Welcome to part 3, advanced nutrition. When I say advanced, we could literally spend hours upon hours upon hours going so deep into protein, fats and carbohydrates. It's never ending. What I want to do is give you a basic understanding of how these work, what they do, and how much you need to set things up correctly in order to support your body to lose weight and do it efficiently and healthy. So it is advanced. There's just so many layers deep. We don't really need to go too deep right now. We need to cover the knowledge that you need in order to apply to your diet to start losing weight. So that being said, everyone's favorite, protein. Especially when it comes to fitness, losing weight, building muscle, everyone is obsessed with protein. It's really overhyped. Protein is, it is important. It's so overhyped by supplement sales. Most people think you need a lot more than you actually do. You'd be surprised. You do need protein in your body to support your lean muscle mass, but not as much as the supplement sales will have you believe. So protein is literally the building blocks of the human body. Your body, your organs, hair, nails, muscles to some extent. Within your muscles there's water, which makes up the majority, but without a good source of protein and adequate amount of protein, you wouldn't be able to build muscle, you wouldn't be able to hold on to muscle, and if you were losing fat and you didn't have adequate protein, you would lose muscle mass before you lost fat. So having the right amount of protein offsets the loss of muscle mass versus fat loss. So that means you can lose fat without losing muscle. As opposed to if you didn't have enough protein, you would lose muscle and not fat, or not as much fat. So we need to make sure we got things in the right order, so you're losing fat instead of losing lean tissue. It's also very satiating, filling. There's been countless studies done when people on slightly higher protein diets, or when I say higher protein, I mean an adequate amount, seem to successfully be able to stick to their diets or adhere to their diets better than people on lower protein. And that's not because protein makes a massive difference physiologically within your body. It has a fantastic effect on hunger. So when you're dieting and you're in a calorie deficit, your body is not getting as much food as it needs to maintain or wants to eat. So you're going to come across hunger issues. It's going to happen. You're not eating enough food as your body wants. It's going to get hungry. Protein is very satiating and very filling. So if you're having the right amount of protein, it can offset the hunger to some degree and increase your chances of success while you're dieting, trying to lose that weight to get to your goal weight or goal physique. Right, okay, so protein, adequate amount. What you're going to do is take, again, your body weight in pounds. Always your body weight in pounds. It's the easiest method to work out all of these algorithms. Body weight in pounds, and you're going to times it anywhere between, this is the ratio that the top nutritional scientists in the community have kind of agreed upon, anywhere between 0.8 to 1.3. Okay, so body weight in pounds times by 0.8 to 1.3, and that's how many grams of protein you're going to need to consume per day in order to maintain your lean tissue, lean muscle mass, while you're losing fat. And that'll make sure you're not losing lean tissue, and the weight that you are losing is specifically, or the majority of it, is going to be fat. Let's make this a bit easier. What I do, I go right in the middle, and I'm going to wipe this out actually. Let's just make this a bit easier, because I know the 0.8 to 1.3 can sound confusing. So this is what I do with myself and my clients. Per pound of body weight, for every pound of body weight you have, you're going to have 1 gram of protein. Nice and easy. So if you're 200 pounds, if you weigh 200 pounds, you're going to have 200 grams of protein. All right. If you're 160 pounds, you're going to have 160 grams of protein. If you're 150 or 240, so however many pounds you weigh, you're going to have exactly the same amount in grams of protein. Okay. So body weight times 1. So 1 gram of protein for every 1 pound of body weight. Okay, nice and simple. Fats, like I said earlier in part 1 when we were talking about the calorie content, fats have 9 calories for every 1 gram. So they are higher in calories. They've been demonized Fats are absolutely essential. You need to make sure you're getting enough fats in your diet to support your health and your hormones. So they support health and hormonal functions, organs, brain, liver, testosterone, estrogen. It's a never-ending list. But if you don't have enough fats in your diet, if you're not getting an adequate amount of fats, your health is going to suffer and your hormones are going to suffer. Men, your testosterone is going to crash, your libido is going to fall through the floor, and you're going to feel like crap, basically. Fats are also very satiating and filling. They do have a high calorie content with 9 calories per gram, but because they're slow releasing energy, they're not the best form of energy, fats. Even though they have a lot of energy in them, it takes a while for your body to be able to utilize the energy in fats. So they can seem very filling and satiating. So they're a good food to include, as long as you have the right amount, in order to make yourself feel full and satisfied when you are in a calorie deficit, when you're dieting. So having adequate protein and fats in your diet when you are dieting in a calorie deficit is going to really help you stick to and adhere to that diet, because it's going to, both of these foods are going to leave you feeling nice and full to some degree. Okay, so with fats, you're going to take your body weight in pounds and you're going to times it by 0.4. Okay. So you might need a calculator for that. So for example, again, if you're 200 pounds, so 200 pounds times 0.4 would give you 80 grams of fat. So 200 times 0.4, a 200 pound person times 0.4 would have 80 grams of fat. So he would be eating 200 grams of protein, 80 grams per fat, and that would support both maintaining his lean tissue while he's losing fat, so he's only losing fat or mostly losing fat, and it would also support his health, and both would also keep him as full and satiated as possible while he's dieting and dealing with some hunger issues. All right, so both of these are essential. Carbohydrates, now carbohydrates are not essential to consume. You can live without consuming carbohydrates. You can't live without glycogen and glucose, but what happens is your body will convert protein and fats into glycogen and glucose. That's a whole different story. We don't need to talk about that right now, but you don't need carbs. You don't need to eat carbs to survive. They're non-essential, but they are the best form of immediate energy for the human body. Protein and fats are not very good energy. They do other things. Carbs do other things as well. They support hormonal functions to some degree, and they do a bunch of other stuff. There's been quite a few studies that show a higher carb diet is actually good for keeping your testosterone higher while you're dieting. If you're on a very low carb diet, it could crash your testosterone. It's not new information. It's only been around for the past few years, but we always thought you could avoid carbs, you wouldn't suffer. But especially with men, if you're on a low carb diet, your testosterone is going to suffer. So we do want to make sure, we know carbs are not bad for you. We did talk about initially that carbs, the low carb diets are just a scam. There's only 4 calories, the same as protein, so you don't need to be low carbs. They're the best form of immediate energy. There's 2 types of carbs really. There's slow releasing carbs and fast releasing carbs. So when we say fast, you can think of sugars, things that get released almost immediately into your bloodstream. Things that take a bit longer are going to be things like potatoes and pasta and rice, donuts and junk food and treats and sweets. They're going to be absorbed a lot faster into your bloodstream, so they'll give you immediate energy. People talk about the sugar crash, right? Where you eat some sugar or some junk food, you get an immediate high and then you have a down. That is simply because if you're eating simpler carbs, it's going to be absorbed into your blood straight away. You're going to have immediate energy and it'll be out of your system pretty soon. If you're having pasta, rice, potatoes, things of that nature, it's going to take a little bit longer to digest. It'll give you a nice slower stream of energy. Oats are another good one. So they're the best form of energy for the human body, especially if you're lifting weights and you're working out a few times per week while you're dieting. You want to make sure you're getting carbs in your diet. You don't need a specific amount. So what you want to do is make sure you get an adequate protein. So 1 gram per pound of body weight. For the 200 pound person, 200 grams. For the fats, 0.4 grams per pound of body fat. Not body fat, body weight. So for the 200 pound person, that would be 80 grams. And you have your overall calories. So in the previous example, it was 2,200, I think. So what you would then do is fill up the rest of your calories with carbohydrates. good, wholesome, healthy carbohydrates for the most part. You can squeeze some junk food in there if it fits in your calories. What I would do is leave them for the night time after you've hit everything else, because if you eat a load of junk food during the day and you use up most of your calorie budget and you only have a little bit left for the evening and you're still hungry, chances are you're then probably going to overeat. So if you do want to fit some junk into your diet, you can do that. I always tell my clients 80-20, 80% good, wholesome, healthy filling foods, 20% whatever the hell you want. Make sure it all fits into your daily calorie budget. So make sure you hit your protein, make sure you hit your fats, get some good carbs within your budget as well. If you do want to eat some junk food, eat it in the night time, my recommendation, and make sure it all fits within your daily calorie budget allowance. On a side note, yes, you can eat junk food. Junk food doesn't make you fat. Chocolate doesn't make you fat. Donuts don't make you fat. They just have calories, the same as any other food, that don't fill you up as well. So the chances are they're not going to fill you up. You're going to still be hungry. You would have used those calories now of your daily budget and they won't have filled you up. So chances are you're probably going to go and overeat, which means you're going to go over your calorie allowance, which is how you gain fat. So junk food doesn't make you fat, it just doesn't fill you up as much, which leaves you hungry, which leaves the gates open to then go and overeat your calories, all right? So protein, 1 gram per pound of body weight, fats, 0.4 grams per pound of body weight, carbohydrates, the rest, I should have made a side piece on this, 80-20, 80% good, wholesome, healthy filling foods, 20% whatever the hell you want, 100% all fitting into your daily calorie allowance. All right, so that's your macronutrient breakdown. The next part, in part 4, is going to be the final part, and I'm going to walk you through how to set up your diet, how to finalize your diet, how to set it up specifically for you, how to put everything in order, and then just let you go off and crack on with things and test out a full diet plan. It's the exact same blueprint that I use for myself and for all of my clients. So what we're going to do, we're going to get 3 examples. We're going to get an example of an overweight person. We're going to get an example of an average person, kind of somewhere in the middle. And we're going to take an example of a lean person. And we're going to break each one down and show you an example of exactly how they would set up their diet, how much protein, how much carbs, how much fats, and everything else that goes with setting up your entire diet. So go on to part 4, the last part of the free series, and we will set up your diet for you. And I'll see you in the next part.